What's going on, Overbuddies? I'm Chris Williams, and this is another video from Overblood Does E3. This time we're going to be talking about Ubisoft and the EA conference. Two conferences that are very different from one another. Let's get it started. Alright, so we're going to start off with the EA conference because, quite frankly, I like getting the bad news out of here first. EA, one of the worst conferences I've ever seen. The conference put me to sleep, literally. Like, I nearly fell asleep. Like, I had to actually get up and walk around. It was that bad. Now, they started off great. Okay, everything goes, and suddenly I'm like, they're showing me Mass Effect. This is Mass Effect stuff. Holy crap, Mass Effect! And they announced Mass Effect Andromeda coming holiday 2016. I'm like, holy crap, that's next year. We got a lot to talk about. Whoa, here we go, EA, let's go. What's this game all about? And then nothing. And I went, that's fine, because we all know that if that's coming out next year, I mean, in a previous video I made, I guaranteed that the Mass Effect collection was coming to current consoles. And guess what? Didn't happen. Didn't happen. They showed this awesome teaser trailer for Mass Effect, and then they left. They went, we're not talking about that anymore. Then after showing, some stuff, they showed Need for Speed, they showed an expansion for Star Wars Old Republic, which I didn't know was still around. They showed a game called Unraveled, which I thought was amazing, right? It was a little indie title, and I thought it reminded me a lot of Limbo, but with color. I mean, the game is beautiful, right? And you're this little character, Yarny, I think's his name, and you're made of yarn, and your goal is to, like, connect sort of the pieces, like string pieces together and reconnect people's lives, and it looks sad, and it's gonna break your heart, and he's so cute, and he's probably gonna die at the end because his yarn he's run out of yarn. It's just gonna be so sad. I don't want to play it, but I do want to play it because it looks really beautiful. And yeah, I mean, that was maybe the last high moment of the EA conference, and we were probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the conference. We had another 45 minutes to go, and that was when I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and Pele, famous soccer player, was on camera, and they were interviewing him, not about one of the soccer games, but just about, it went, Pele, what's the hardest type of kick you've ever done? And he went, well, I'll tell you, a lot of people, they think that the bicycle kick, the hardest kick I ever done, but no, it's actually the penalty kick. The penalty kick. Beautiful football. He kept saying that. He said that 20 times. Beautiful football. It was weird. He's Andre the Giant, but he's Pele. Beautiful football. It's very strange. No, we went from that to they showed some sports games off, showed a lot of sports games. I know people were kind of groaning about it. I thought NHL 16 looked really good. If there's a Mighty Ducks mode, it could be maybe the best sports game of all time. Rory McIlroy's golf game looked pretty. At the end of the day, it's a golf game, though, right? Madden, whatever. Mirror's Edge. We showed Mirror's Edge, and I didn't care, right? Like, it looked good, but they didn't show anything to make me really care because they did that classic thing of not showing gameplay. It's all this cinematic stuff, and I'm tired of seeing cinematic trailers and like things that, well, this is what the game looks like. It's like, I don't care what the game looks like. I want to know how it plays, and I didn't really get to see how Mirror's Edge played. But they did give us a release date, February 23rd for next year, so we'll see that. And I think I'd said earlier, in the Microsoft conference with Gamescom coming, we're going to see a lot more games there. I really hope and kind of expect to see, Mirror's Edge at Gamescom. So we'll probably see it there, and hopefully we'll see actual gameplay, or maybe it'll show up, during the week. This is only the beginning, right, of E3. So hopefully we'll see more. All right, and then the stream died. Like, literally, Twitch just broke, right? Everything stopped working, and I wrote in my notes. I literally wrote this: the stream died. Not sure if that's a bad thing or not at this point. That was how bad things had gotten, because at this point, that was when Pele was there going, beautiful football. It's terrible. It's the worst. Poor Pele. He's such a nice man too. Let's see. Anything else? Battlefront showed up. Battlefront was, I mean, it was good, right? It looked like what I expected it to look like. Watching people fly first-person TIE fighters, that was really cool. Actual, not space battles, but you are in the air and you're shooting at things. That looked cool. I know at the end of that trailer, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker show up and they fight. I don't know. Can I be Luke Skywalker? Can I be Darth Vader on the battlefield while other people are playing their parts? Like, how does that work? Like I said, this is just to show what people can expect, and during the week, the IGNs, the Game Informers, things like that, they'll Giant Bomb, they'll be showing actual gameplay, and we'll be able to get a better look at things. But at the moment, like, man, that was rough. Just terrible. Now, before we jump over to the Ubisoft conference, let's go over some of the things that the Game Informer community, better known as the Overblood folks, what they thought about the EA stuff. Let's see. Ryan Davis said, EA conference has me snoring so far. Yep, you not the only one, buddy. Adam Clark once again said, EA has officially lost me. Nick Young, Neil Generic. Good lord. No one talked to me about Mirror's Edge Catalyst. It looks like everything I was hoping it would be, and I need a moment to process the fact that there are no levels or loading times. That was something they mentioned, and that was actually a cool thing, right? Like the idea of no levels, no loading time. You're just going from one objective to the next. Pretty interesting. Once again, why I wanted actual gameplay, right? I wanted to know how that worked. See, Blake England? Well, Blake, I'm seriously excited about this. When talking about Plants vs. Zombies 2, that was something they showed. Not crazy about it, but I'm glad, I'm glad people are into it. Buddy Aker, arguably the worst E3 conference ever. Yeah, that's pretty close. Also, I went to the Overblood E3 chat for a quote, and they all collectively said Pele. So, basically, beautiful football. Alright, now let's jump over to the Ubisoft press conference where they definitely had some games to show. It was very, very cool. Let's get into it. One of the first games they showed was a game called For Honor. At first, I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at, but the cinematic trailers showed you could be a samurai, you could be a Viking, you could be a knight, and then eventually they got into actual gameplay, and it was team-based battles, which, I'm kind of groaned at because I'm kind of tired of just all these multiplayer games. Give me single-player stuff. Hopefully there's more modes to the game, but it was 4v4 with, also AI teammates on both sides of the team, and you're just doing these giant battles against other players. And it honestly, when they got into actual combat against other players, it really looked like Bushido Blade. And if you're telling me that there's a 4v4 game where it's Bushido Blade themed, or at least like the combat is very Bushido Blade, oh, I'd be giving you my money, Ubisoft. That looks very good, very, very good. That is what I call a beautiful football. Alright, another game that they showed, The Division. Maybe you've heard of it, right? It's very cool. They actually showed what I imagine the game, probably like PvP area is. That's another thing. We don't know how the game's set up. We don't know if it's how open world it really is, right? But it's called the Dark Zone. You go with team up with other players, and while you're in there, you can turn on them, you can join them. They showed an instance in the game where one team is going to get like equipment or a drop or whatever, and they've got to kill these NPCs, and then suddenly another actual player team shows up. They decide to work together, and then eventually they get the items, they go to the drop zone to leave, and while they're there, the larger team decides to turn on the smaller team, killing all of them, and then while they're looting them, the one girl's like, hey, heal him real fast so we can leave, and then the actual player from the larger team says, nah, I'm good, kills the guy that's hurt, kills the girl that said heal him, and then he takes everyone's loot and leaves. So the idea that just at any point you can turn on anyone, like literally, it's survival of the fittest in The Division. Like, that idea sounds really cool, and I'm excited to see more. We finally got actual gameplay, so it definitely looks like it's going to live up to the hype. They also gave a release date, which is awesome. March 8th. So still got a ways to go, but it is coming, and they've got a release date. Hopefully, it doesn't get delayed. I want to play that game very, very badly. Also, we got Assassin's Creed. Showed no gameplay, which makes me wonder if maybe we're gonna see gameplay at the PlayStation conference. I don't know. Just it's weird to not have seen any actual gameplay from that game yet. Now they did say it's going to be at their booth, so I'm sure videos and stuff will pop up. But just weird they didn't show it at the conference. And last but not least, it's a Ubisoft conference. We all know that they have one last game to show, and this one was a little game called Ghost Recon Wildlands. Very cool game where you are sort of open world, going from target to target, deciding how you want to kill enemies. In the trailer they suggested that you could kill a drug lord, for instance, by either stealth or taking his supply and causing his boss to get angry and kill him. You could just kill everyone. You could capture them, and all types of different ways. That was really interesting. The trailer suggested multiplayer, and if I was like 14 again and had a ton of friends at school, yes, giant open world multiplayer game sounds awesome. But I'm an old man now, folks. Don't let the Mario hat fool you. I'm 96 years old, and I just don't have that many friends who are like open to play these giant multiplayer games, right? So if that game is single player, or at least I can play it single player, then I'm all over it. If it is this multiplayer game, I'm gonna have to skip it. I just don't have time, right? It's weird because I'm excited for The Division, which looks very multiplayer, but Ubisoft has said that game is planned to be, just regular. You can play it single player. You can do single player or multiplayer. So hopefully this game is the same because it looked awesome. All right, now let's get into what the community had to say about the Ubisoft press conference. John Wells said, "Wow, I want almost all of the Ubisoft games super bad." Another slam dunk. This E3 has been phenomenal. Apparently he did not watch the EA conference. Daniel Big Bloom, this is a silly name. Does Ubisoft ever do anything besides attempts at photorealism? It's so boring. You are not familiar with like Rayman and Child at Light and Valiant Heart. You should check those out. Apparently you're not aware of them, and they're super good. Rob Markin, Markin. He very dark in here. It's very strange. Very little writing. I'm an old man. I'm 96 years old. A beautiful football. Though not interested in every game, pretty solid conference for Ubi. They did what they needed to do and had a very strong showing. Man, it makes that EA conference look even worse. And Travis Wayne, talking about Rainbow Six Siege, he said, "One of my top 3 most anticipated games this year. What did you guys think of the gameplay? Any classic Rainbow fans here other than me?" That's a great question, Travis. Anybody out there, is excited for Rainbow Six Siege as Travis? Personally, I, take it or leave it. It doesn't really do much for me, but that's cool that Travis is excited for it, and I wonder if you guys are too. Maybe leave some comments down below. It's like I'm a real YouTuber over here. Subscribe and like, blah. Guys, if you're watching this, you're awesome. And remember that the PlayStation conference is coming up pretty soon, and I'll be talking about that. And then tomorrow, we'll do the Nintendo conference, or the Direct or whatever, and then we'll be doing the Ubisoft thing, and then I can go to bed. So that'll be super exciting. Thank you to everyone who's watched today and participated and had some fun. And yesterday as well. You guys are awesome, as you know, because you're watching this.